On Bayou Time, we recap the week of July 4th through July 8th in our weekend review episode. That's all next on this special edition of Bayou Time.
Deep in the heart of the bayou, we are gathered here tonight. Now it's time for action, 'cause our lives are on the line. Tonight we'll do our very best to break through all the bureaucratic mess. The time has come tonight, 'cause it's Bayou time. Show what Louisiana's all about.
This Bayou Time is hosted by local attorney Jason Dagate.
Hello once again and welcome to this weekend review edition of Bayou Time. I'm Jason Dagate. We now recap the week that was July 4th, 2011 through July 8th, 2011. We now take you to Monday's episode of Bayou Time on July 4th, where we recap the ceremonies for the 4th of July over the weekend. We now take you to Veterans Park in Houma.
I want to first begin by just thanking every one of y'all for being here on a hot day, a humid day. In between the rain, we're going to celebrate our nation's birthday, 235 years young. I've learned that now that I'm on Medicare. Everything is young, and we only mature in life. We don't get older. And I want to thank all of our veterans who have turned out in uniform. We have several we're going to recognize as we go through that, and also our, as I've said, 911 and the incident when we were attacked certainly brought home the fact that there are more than just men and women in uniform in our armed forces who are on our first line of defense as we celebrate our nation's birthday. And that's now the men and women of our emergency services, our police, our fire, and our emergency responders. And I welcome them here today to be part of this program, because without them on the home front, those who are on foreign soil would not have the support they need, knowing that their families are safe back home. And that's what makes America the country we're all so proud of. We're all in this together. And I've said it time and time again, and you'll hear it time and time again from many others. When we forget, we lose. When we forget, we lose. Today is just a day to make sure we don't forget. I'd like to now call on our Bayou area Boy Scouts who will lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. And isn't it great to see the future of our country here today leading us in a pledge? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since it's not military, I'm not going to let you sit down and then get up. One stand up. I'd like to call on Miss Sarah Sullivan, who is going to sing our national anthem. Sarah?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
would like to at least recognize Lieutenant Colonel, retired, Johnny Pizzolato. At one time was my commander, at one time was the company commander, at one time was the company commander here with Charlie Company, the Black Sheep, and then went on to be the battalion commander, and I served under him when I was at the brigade headquarters. Thank you, Colonel Pizzolato, and I want you to know I want to thank you for that promotion recommendation back then, and I will finally destroy the negatives of that night out for the hail and farewell. You in the military understand this. Some of those things we don't do as much as we used to anymore. And of course, later I will introduce the parish president. We'll hear from him. And I just wanted to say on Johnny's behalf, I wanted to thank him for all of the years he committed to our veterans, and now on the parish council as a rep, to continue to be a champion for veterans and veterans' rights. On behalf of the veterans, thank you, sir. And do recognize, and we did, Colonel Bill Davis, who was our oldest veteran. And I was sitting there, and of course, he at one time was my principal in school. I visited him quite often, which is part of the foundation for my being a private twice. And I just realized that if he was the oldest veteran last year and he's here this year, he's still the oldest veteran. So congratulations, Bill. I learned something. I salute you, sir. Thank you. And we're going to cover something in a little while on that. I'd like to, at this time, introduce Vietnam Major Leroy Williams. And let me tell you a little bit about Major Williams. He's both started as an enlisted soldier. Ultimately, in 1965, did boot camp at San Diego, California. Enlisted in 1961 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Sergeant, Da Nang, Vietnam. Staff Sergeant, Qua Trang, Vietnam, 2 tours. And then he got a field commission as a second lieutenant in 1969. Made first lieutenant in 1972, captain in 76, major in 84, and retired likewise in 84. Congratulations, sir, and thank you. I'd like to always just point out a little trivia. His daughter is with us, of course, Lieutenant Clay, and it's his other daughter who is currently serving in Afghanistan. They continue to serve. Thank you, sir. We have an old saying in South Louisiana, the acorn didn't fall too far from the tree. Well, here, that whole tree of acorns have all rallied around the flagpole. Thank you, sir. I'd like to introduce our youngest member of Charlie Company who deployed to Iraq. Was Aaron Jackson, but now it's Sergeant Gaston. Am I correct? You're the youngest. Negative?
He's taking his place.
Oh, you're just taking his place. That's all right. I was figuring the youngest guy to be a sergeant. Boy, they work fast. But thank you for being here and for representing, and thank you for your recent service and your return. I want to, let me see, introduce the firefighters. Firefighter Ken Email, and also Engineer Greg Boudreau from the Bayou Cane Fire Department. Y'all please stand up. Let me tell you a little bit about them. And I don't want to talk too long because, as you can see, one of them's in a Class A, so you know he's sweating. Inspector Ken Email, 18 years of fire service, started as a volunteer and has been an inspector and investigator for the past 16 years. Past 4 years, inspector, investigator for the Bayou Cane Fire Department. Thank you for your service, Ken. Thank you. And Engineer Greg Boudreau, his most years with the Bayou Cane Fire Department, 26 years. So that means he started when they were buying military surplus trucks and putting a 500-gallon water buffalo on the back of them, correct? That's what we used to do without a baffle, which meant if you put on the brakes, the water came with you right through the building. And he previously held the position of volunteer assistant chief and a career position of deputy chief. Thank you both. Thank you. And as most of the citizens know, Bayou Cane is the largest of the volunteer fire departments around here because of the buildings, the property, and the expansion of Terrebonne Parish and the city of Houma and Houma Terrebonne So thank you for your job. We see you everywhere. Thank you. I'd like to introduce also two of those who we may see if we celebrate too much this weekend, and we hope not to. Colonel Mike Soleil, Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office, and Sergeant Kyle Falk, Houma Police Department. And let me talk about Sergeant Falk. Joined the Houma Police Department in 1991, worked 4 years on the road as a patrol officer, transferred to narcotics, became a narcotics agent. In 97, left to start his own company, and then returned to Houma Police Department in 99 as a patrol officer, kept the company on the side, did it part-time. Promoted to Detective and Investigative Services between 2000 and 2008. In 2008, became a recruiter and public relations officer. Present, promoted to sergeant, and feels honored to serve the residents of Houma, and I can tell you, has a good positive attitude every day when he gets up and jumps in that car and goes to work. Thank you for your service, Kyle. Mike Soleil, just to give you a little history, let me first talk about Kyle. I was in school with his parents, so that's dating us. Good to see you. Sure hope I treated you right when I go by your house when you were young, but that's okay. We'll talk about that later. And Mike Soleil, Colonel, Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office. He spent 4 years with the Uniform Motorcycle Patrol in the Uniform Division, and that's where I first got to know Mike. We rode motorcycles together just a year or two ago. He worked as a detective in the Detective Bureau for 13 years, working criminal investigations, narcotics commander for 13 years, and passed then 2 years as chief of detectives. His current position is assistant to the sheriff, military terminology, chief of staff. If everything goes right, the sheriff gets the credit. When it goes wrong, go see Mike Soleil. He has a total of 32 years and counting. And he shares a unique relationship with our nation and its birthday, his birthday too. Also, let me rephrase it, his birthday also is July 4th. Our country will be 235 years old. Mike Soleil, 234. Congratulations, Mike. Happy birthday. At this time, we will stand at ease while the United Veterans League moves in to do the wreath-laying ceremony across the street. So I would direct your attention across the street. And they will also provide a 21-gun salute in honor of our fallen heroes.
When we return, we'll go out to Thibodaux for their 4th of July ceremonies, which we aired on Monday's edition of Bayou Time.